Hi guys and gals, animal friends and spirit pals. Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in again. This video is going to be another animal tale, my favorite. You know, this channel is going to be pretty eclectic, like a variety show, and I'm still not exactly sure when too many is too many videos, or how many I should do a week, or if I should not do more than one, or whatever. So I'm still trying to figure that out, and I'd love to hear what you guys think if you want to share it in the comments below. But I wanted to go ahead and put up one more animal tale. This one tonight is called Coyote Magic. I'm finishing up a delicious Mike's hard strawberry pineapple lemonade. Ooh, yummy. And it's getting kind of late here, but I thought we'd just snuggle up for a little story before I go to bed. I've taken care of a lot of coyotes, quite a few over the years, different ones, and met different ones, and considered different coyotes my buddies. And this is a story about one I didn't really take care of very long, but it was a story about one that was at the zoo that I cared for, but I wasn't her regular, zookeeper. At the zoo, normally I would be a relief keeper on two different groups of animals because I liked variety, and I've said before I love all the animals. And then I would have an extra day, a fifth day, where sometimes they'd put me somewhere else where they needed me because of vacations or whatever. And I'd had quite a bit of experience with North American animals, and this is where the coyote lived, in that part of the zoo, and I'd taken care of that section before in the past. And so this couple of days, like a weekend, I was asked to go and take care of that North American group of animals, which included this coyote named Goldie. Now, I didn't really know her very well. I mean, I'd taken care of that group of animals, before that, when she was there, but I didn't really interact with her much, and I hadn't known much about her. I would just fill in occasionally. And she was a quiet coyote. She tended to stay back in the back corner, sort of rolled up in a ball, and she wasn't very interactive. So I hadn't had much interaction with her. On this day, I was going to do it for the weekend, take care of them for 2 days straight. And on the way to the zoo, or when you get to the animals, it's about a mile walk, from where I park, and then go to that section and get started. And as I was walking up to my section, to the North American section, I got that old familiar in my forehead, telepathic message, chat with what I called spirit or spirit guides. At this point, I was talking with Pan already, and he came through and said, you might want to talk to that coyote today if you have time, to the coyote. And I thought, okay, maybe. For one thing, you're always really busy as an animal keeper. At least you were at the zoo I worked at, and your day was very full. And if anything out of the ordinary came up, it always pushed you past your time, and the clock just kept ticking no matter how much you had to do, if there was babies or somebody was sick or whatever. Or if you're filling in a place that you don't regularly do, it takes you a little bit longer because it's not your regular routine and things like that. So, I was always kind of playing beat the clock. And anytime if I wanted to talk to the animals or sit down and communicate with Pan and the animals, I would usually have to always do it on my lunch like that, because there wasn't much, that wasn't really built into the zookeeper's schedule. I feel like, I was the only one doing that. So, I said, I will if I can, me. Woo. And then got settled and started checking the animals. And again, Pan comes through and says, well, it might be a good idea to talk to the coyote. She'd like to communicate. I went, okay, fine. So at lunch, I went into her exhibit with her. It's important to know, too, that a lot of my experience at the zoo is with hands-on care. So I raised a lot of animals. I did a lot of training. I did a lot of shows and programs where it was me and the animals doing stuff together. And I've always been a very hands-on kind of a animal keeper. Number one, I think, because of my work with Pan, the animals just seem to take to me all the time really easily. And I always felt like he had somehow stamped my auric field or something, and they just recognized it. And they would show that to me over and over and over and over and over. And the quickest way would be they would trust me and be really friendly with me, right away. Most always, unless there was some kind of outside circumstance or something. And this little coyote had always been pretty quiet and kept to herself. And again, had I worked there regularly, I would have worked more with her. Anyway, so I went into the exhibit with her because I don't really have really any fear of animals. I'm very respectful and careful and all that. But I never spent my time with a big fear in my brain about the animals are going to kill me or anything like that. Never ever thought like that. And so I went in and just sat in the center of her enclosure. She was back in her corner as usual. And I just sat quietly on this little rock that was in the back there and closed my eyes and meditated with this wild coyote that I didn't really know. And pulled Pan in, and then I usually start those communications with just appreciating the animal and telling them how much I love them and how much I care for them, and that if there's anything they want to share with me, I would like to receive it. And if there's any way I can be of service or help them, especially at the zoo, let me know, and I can try my best to do what will make you happy or assist you. And did you want to share something with me? And it was a female named Goldie, she said, I am preparing to leave, die, which wasn't really expecting to hear that. Even though she was an older animal, that wasn't really why I was going to talk to her, or if that's what she was going to talk to me about. And I said, are you sure? I mean, I can help you feel better, maybe, But at this time, I was also practicing a Reiki therapist and certified, and I went and learned that. And so I did Reiki energy a lot with the animals at the zoo. And I said, I can help you with that. But, of course, I can just give you energy, and you can use it any way your soul wants. If that means you want to cross over, okay, I can give you energy and assist you in that if I'm able to, or if you want to stay here for a while. And she said, I'm tired of here. There's a lot of disrespect and negative energy that's directed towards me a lot of the time, and I just am not enjoying it, and I don't want to continue on. Now, I believe, and what Pan has told me, here he sits on my brain, is that the animal souls choose the zoo life. And it's really in an attempt or service for themselves and for all of us to help heal the separation between humans and nature, humans and animals, because that is so sorely needed. And it's sort of I get the feeling, a last-ditch effort, really. They volunteer to represent their species in an attempt to get closer to humans and create relationships that are more powerful on the earth. So when I care for them, I always treat them like the ambassadors that I feel they are. Love them, do anything I can to make sure they have the greatest life possible. I love cleaning up, making sure their place is clean and beautiful for them, providing them with food, figuring out what they enjoy, making fun, playing, all that kind of stuff. And so that's why I wanted to be an animal keeper to begin with, and why I did become one. I feel like the animals actually picked me to be the keeper, even though the zoo hired me, if that makes any sense. Anyway, one of my biggest pet peeves were how much disrespect the public and children, in general, there's always exceptions, showed to the animals in general, and particularly canids. They would just always want to bark and howl and yell and scream and antagonize them. Also, primates, just all the time. And it's just so disrespectful, and I just never liked it. And I'm always the one saying, please don't be quiet, don't be loud. Please watch the animals quietly and be respectful of them. You know, their environment. They don't live in a noisy environment. So please respect, and did whatever I could, but a lot of times it was a losing battle. And this is what the Coyote was complaining about. That it seemed she was more ridiculed than appreciated. And plus, she'd been doing it a while, and she was tired and wanted to move on, which is her choice. And so I said, well, I don't know what I can do, really, because I was new at this part of it all. And but if there's anything I can do, I'm willing to help you, and just let me know. And then I went on back to work. And I didn't really know what I was going to do about it, or if anything. And she stayed on my mind throughout the night when I went home, and I kept thinking about her. And I got up the next morning, went to work, and I was going to do the same animals again. And as I was going up, Pan goes, well, she's getting ready to cross over, and so you might want to go to her first, and you can assist and provide some energy that will help her. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to help her. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm willing to do what I can, but you'll have to show me what to do. I was a little nervous about it. And so I went to her exhibit and opened it up, and she had gone into this area we called the bunker. And a bunker is like this concrete sheltered area that the animals can go into to get away from the weather or rain, stuff like that. But it's also a place they can go into, and then you can go into their exhibit without them being in it, and you can clean it and stuff like that, and so you have that as an option. And now she didn't have to go in there. She could just choose to if she wanted to. And I had left her access to it, which meant she could go in there at will. So she was in that, laying down in the back, not on the exhibit. And that's when you first go into these enclosures, that's a smaller, separate enclosure with that concrete bunker, and she's in it. And it has a sliding guillotine door that goes up and down, but it's up and it's tied up. So I went in there, and then I just sat inside the concrete bunker with her on this end, and she was on the other end. And again, don't tell on me, because I'm sure that's not anything. The zoo's saying, please go sit with the wild coyote in the concrete bunker. But I was following a higher calling. And again, don't do what I do, use your own judgment and guidance. And so I sat down there and meditated and asked for spirit to come forward. And I told the coyote I was there to assist her. And she said she was ready to cross over. She scooted down and she laid her head in my lap and just laid there. And I asked Pan to come and assist me and spirit, and she said, I'm here to assist if there's anything I can do, even if it's just being here with her as she crosses, or anything else, let me know. God, spirit, this is a little odd, and I don't know, there's not like an instruction booklet, really, that I know of. Kind of learning on the job here, and not even sure how this can be of service. So I sat there and just was, getting deeper into like a meditative state with her in my lap. And then this energy comes from above and just floods down and greets me. And I think, wow, what's this? And I say, are you the, this sounds really goofy, but I said, are you the angel of death? And it said, well, that's what some call me, but I prefer guardian of the gateway, which is a nicer name, I think. But he said, it's all the same. And it said, I've come to escort this spirit across the threshold. And in that moment, I felt what seemed to me, and it was very real, very overwhelming. It completely flooded my whole body from head to toe. What I felt was Goldie's spirit lift and go through my body and up, joining that guardian that was right there, and then lifting up with it. And then I just flooded with tears and just cried and cried and cried. I mean, I don't even know how you could have that many tears. It was just this huge emotional release. And, she was dead in my lap. And I just felt... it was really hard for me because I don't like that kind of thing, really. But I felt that in some way it helped her cross. And since then, I've done it a lot of times with a lot of different animals. And it's never something I just love to do. It's more that I'm in that, I just happen to be there at that time. And, just like a lot of times just happened to be when births happened, it's at that time too, and I never thought any of that was a mistake. But this crossing over thing I did a lot, and this was really the first time where that experience of seeing this angelic being come and pick up her spirit and take it. And it was very... hard to explain it. It's very... I felt privileged to be there, even though it broke my heart to see her spirit leaving. And I felt it was good that her last experience with humans was one where somebody was loving her and appreciating her, and in that case, holding her before she left. So at least in her life, she had created that relationship with people. And I was there kind of fulfilling the people part of that. So, and then I've done that quite a few times since then. Sorry, it's hard to talk about that kind of thing without getting really emotional about it. Uh, and I'll never forget it. It was such a visceral experience. Then, of course, after that, I had to like compose myself because I was a mess. The ugly pouring your insides out, kind of crying. For different reasons. But then I had to call and let them know the coyote had passed away, and somebody has to come from the health center and get it. And I have to act all reasonable, and I'm not really gonna say, "Can you come get her out of my," or not really sharing that experience with them because honestly, at that time, the zoo just wasn't open to that. Some individuals were, and other zookeepers, but not the organization. So most of the things I had to do sort of on the side in the quiet or in the dark, kind of, which is so aggravating. But I hope this will make that come more out in the opening. Out in the open, I always kind of thought I would be sort of a spirit whisperer and with a big sign around my neck when I worked at the zoo, but that isn't really how it worked. I was a spirit whisperer at the zoo, but it was more under a bushel kind of a thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point for me was the relationships with the animals I created. So I just want to bless coyotes, love them, and I would love for you guys to send your blessings to all the members of the coyote family. They're a beautiful animal. They're related to dogs, of course, but they don't really act like dogs. They're like a very wild version. They're kind of tricky, and they've learned to be sneaky and like the little tricksters. They're really good at figuring out how to live in amongst humans and in amongst cities, whereas other animals aren't that successful at it. And they howl to communicate with each other, and um, they're just so misunderstood. They're a shy animal and timid. They've learned to be that way, especially around humans. And so if ever you see one or think of one, just send it love and appreciation. And that makes a big, big difference, I have to tell you. Okay, guys, see if I wanted to say anything else about that. Hope you liked that story. Just want to, again, Pan saying, bless coyotes, bless coyotes. Because that coyote energy comes forward, as I'm sharing this story, so it's present here with us and wants to share in the energy and the acknowledgement. And of course, I welcome that. I asked for it before we started. And, it's present here. Might also visit with you, or you might have an experience with coyotes. I'd love to hear about it. And let's see here. Okay, good. Just offering them some more energy and love. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, let me know or push the like button. That lets me know. And you guys have a great night. And until the next time, in the next story, I'll see you later.